Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm chatting with Tim Fernback from Temas Resources. Guys, I think that Temas offers a very interesting value proposition. For one, it has a $4 million market cap, and they recently did a PEA that showed a net present value post-tax of $6.6 billion. And we have two pretty good comps in Titan Mining Corp, which currently trades at a Canadian market cap of around $27 million. And we have Empire Metals Limited, which trades on the London Exchange, trading at around 43 million pounds. Now, you might be saying, why should I speculate on the price of titanium? Well, there's two interesting bullet points for that thesis. The first is that it seems inevitable that titanium between Russia and the West is going to stop flowing, whether that is forced by the US or forced by Putin himself. Secondly, the Kronos mine in Norway, which makes up around 20% of the world's titanium, is set to shut down over the next few years. In this interview, we get into the titanium market and we discuss Temas, what the company has going on in the near term, and why it might be an interesting company to put on your watch list. All right, everybody, enjoy the interview. Tim, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So I want to start off talking about sort of the macro environment for titanium and some of the recent news that's happened. And titanium has been in the news lately as a result of a scandal related to Chinese titanium being used in Boeing planes, as well as sanctions to Russian-sourced titanium. Do you get the sense that there's a growing demand for locally produced titanium?
Well, titanium is clearly in demand as a locally produced item in North America. We have such a high use and need for it. And, it's a critical metal. And it's, one that is being proposed to be supported locally, just like other sources of lithium, uranium, other really critical elements in North America. I think the push to have a North American secure supply chain is very important in this day and age, especially when you see, like I said, you mentioned Chinese counterfeit titanium getting into Boeing and Airbus airplane fuselages, right? You can't necessarily have that. And then when Russia is a major supplier of titanium, they're starting wars left, right, and center. That's always not good to support that type of political regime.
So let's talk about Temas Resources. Tim, this is the first time we've had you on. Maybe you can give us the high-level overview for the company for those in our audience that are new to the story.
Sure. So Temas is a Canadian-based mineral exploration company. We are focused on our two main properties in Quebec, and they're titanium, vanadium, and iron oxide properties. They're in a very prolific mining region, just about 100 kilometers north of Baie-Comeau, in the Grenville province, where there is quite a bit of mining activity, whether it's iron oxide, phosphorus, or even titanium mining. Rio Tinto has a major mine that's been in operation for titanium dioxide for about 70 years, and that is about 400 kilometers to the east of us. So it's a great area to be in terms of infrastructure, and we're really happy to be proudly supporting the Quebec mineral exploration community. And we're a young company. We've got a $4 million market cap. I think that with our recently announced PEA on our Blache property, $6.6 billion NPV. I think there's only upside on the market cap going up after getting it out there that we have this wonderful asset at Blache.
Temas recently put out a PEA on the Blache project. What can you tell us?
So it's a large economic interest in this project. So we have 100% ownership of our property there. The overall net present value is about $6.6 billion. It's a large project. The operating capital needed to put the project into place is also about just over $1 billion, $1.2 billion. So it could be a large producer of titanium for, I think the original lens is about 14-year mine life. And we're talking about, $40+ billion of titanium dioxide and iron oxide coming out of there. Right now we have a 208 million ton inferred resource on the property. So it's a large project and in a good area of Quebec.
So Tim, this is something I sometimes like to ask junior mining management teams, because I think that for a bunch of the investors out there, retail investors that are thinking about, okay, do I want to put my money into this project? What is it the management's doing to move the project forward? So what does your day-to-day look like as the CEO of the company? Are you guys looking for optics? Are you guys looking to move the project forward? Are you guys looking for new projects to add to the company? Maybe you can give us some insights into that.
Sure. I think day to day, my main focus is to move the Blache property forward. Like I said, we have an inferred resource calculation completed on it. We have the PEA completed on it. The next step is to do some infill drilling on the project and start our environmental baseline studies to get it to a pre-feasibility status, which is the next, I think, value creation point for the company. And then we have our Lac Brulee project, which we haven't mentioned yet, but Lac Brulee, it's a higher grade titanium oxide dioxide deposit, and it is about 140 kilometers to the west of our Blache property, so nearby in the same region, and the resource is near surface. So we'll be drilling out that project, getting that to a PEA status. So those are the two main focuses for the next, say, 12 to 18 months for the company, to get Blache to a pre-feasibility and to get Lac Brulee to a PEA status.
What's the next big steps here in terms of exploration? What really needs to get done to move the project forward?
So at Blache, we'll probably be doing about 10,000 meters of drilling, and we'll be moving our inferred resource calculation to a measured and indicated status. So that needs to get done. And of course, I mentioned earlier about our environmental baseline studies. Those are multi-year studies, and they've got to be created. The other thing that we're doing in Quebec is we're continuing with our community engagement. We have a large First Nations community that's not really near our property, but it's active in mineral exploration. So we're just actively engaging with them and informing them of what we're doing. And then on Lac Brulee, the plan will be also to do some drilling. We have about 2,500 meters of drilling needed to convert that project to a PEA status, and then we'll be engaging engineering groups to do the work for the PEA.
Have you guys had any conversations with potential end users of the product, or are we too early for those conversations to be had?
They're actually starting right now. It's more major companies that are interested in our projects and commercializing what we have there in place. There are a couple large major players that are currently titanium dioxide producers that are looking to support their mines that are coming off of the end of life. So there are two large mines, one in Canada and one in Norway, that are nearing the end of their mine life. So these companies are looking for additional supply. So I think that's one of the reasons why they might be interested in a company like TMAS. Our project is it's a hard rock project, so it's different than the mineral sands projects that you see in Africa. So I think that there's some interest in these companies using our technology, our metallurgy technology, to get the titanium dioxide and the iron oxide out of the rock.
So, Tim, if I am looking at the Blache project, if I recall correctly, it wasn't that long ago that a company named Argex owned the project, and it traded at a pretty significant market cap. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So Argex, several years ago, they owned the property to the west of our claim, and we've now acquired the claim blocks under option agreement for the Argex lands. Our project, which was directly beside it, which we've done the PEA on, is similar in metallurgy, similar in size, quite a big opportunity. But now we've consolidated the entire camp there, so we have both our project and also the RGX project under our belt. So I think that over the time you can expect to see something quite significant happen when you combine the historic resource at RGX and our current resource that we've calculated.
So Tim, if I'm an investor watching the story, what am I looking out for over, say, the remainder of the year or the next year in terms of things that might move the dial or ways to evaluate the company's performance?
Yeah, so we have been over the last little while. We've opened up a Quebec office. We've added some more Quebec-based talent on our board, and we are continuing to add more folks and infrastructure in Quebec. We just brought on a metallurgist that's top in his field, Danny Dutton, that is a world-class metallurgist that is knowledgeable of these VTM deposits. So I think that our plan would be you'll see more news about us, being more active in Quebec and hiring more people in Quebec, getting the infrastructure built up, but then also all the work around our exploration programs and community involvement that I mentioned earlier that we're going to be doing. So you'll see us out at different mining shows and conferences that are Quebec focused, but also ones that are titanium and vanadium focused.
Well, Tim, thanks for hopping on here. I think that this is a very interesting project based on how we've seen this asset perform previously and the market size potential. And I think that as this junior mining bull cycle catches steam, this is a name that junior mining investors are going to want to keep an eye on. So thanks for hopping on here, and let's circle back when we get some new results from the company and dive into those.
That sounds great. Looking forward to it.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this interview, please smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Also, let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks, everyone.